I can see. Let me go down. Yes, it is. Happy Saturday! It's 2 o'clock on a Saturday afternoon. So it's time for HLC Saturday Solutions. I am Christina Rue from HLC Bookkeeping and Office Services.
And I'm Krista Rue from the same.
From the same. So basically, Saturday Solutions are just, we come up with like three topics that we feel like we need to share with you or that we've gotten feedback on. It's just a way to, and this can be in your personal life, your business life, your spiritual life. It's just things that have come up during the week that we like chit chat about.
Maybe we should talk about that.
Yeah. So we're like, let's talk about that. So, we're located in Jeanette, Pennsylvania, and it's kind of cold today, to be perfectly honest.
Very cold.
It is kind of cold today, but that's okay because we have warm hearts and we're moving forward. So Krista's going to recap what we did last week, and then we're going to start on this week's topics. And I learned something new. I filled in what we're talking about today on the little thingy.
Oh, on
where
Facebook.
You can do the description. I'm learning, peeps. I'm learning.
We'll just get better and better like you are. Okay. So last week's topics where we talked about in Pennsylvania, they've moved from e-tides to MyPaths. And Christina had found many instructional videos on YouTube that were very helpful. So if you guys are having issues with that, that would be a good place to look at. And then we also talked about celebrating the victories. Take time to enjoy your forward progress.
Absolutely.
So many times we treat it like a checklist. Done.
Check mark.
What's the next one?
A check mark's good, but it's not exciting.
That's right. You have to like mark the occasion.
Reward.
That's right. Do something.
Mm-hmm.
And then the last thing we talked about is bookkeeper shortages.
Mm-hmm.
If you have a great bookkeeper working with you, try to keep them.
Yep.
Because we learned that more than 50% of bookkeepers are retiring between the years of 2014 and 2024.
Yes.
And we're at the tail end.
We're at the tail end.
That's why we're having trouble finding people.
Yep.
So that's something to keep in mind, and to not be afraid to look outside the box. Just because someone's your receptionist doesn't mean that they won't make a good bookkeeper. If they're meticulous, they can be taught, because not everybody can be taught. Let's be serious, people.
I have issues being taught technical things.
Yes.
Like with my car. I don't want to learn about it.
Yeah. Some of the best people we've taught are people who didn't think they were bookkeeping people because they had other skills. Carpenters, but carpenters do so well with QuickBooks because they understand they're building their business. That's just like they're building that house.
Correct.
So just because your past doesn't indicate that you know bookkeeping doesn't mean you can't do it.
So along that vein, for the next couple weeks, we are going to talk about bookkeeping topics.
Right.
That if you're self-educating or doing the books yourself would be helpful to you.
Right. All right. So let's talk about the three topics we're going to do today. And the first is spare time.
Spare time. So
what is that?
So in my spare time, I write children's books, right? And so at one of my women's business networking groups this week, we talked about, to get to know each other better, what we do in our spare time. And I'm like, it's taken me 14 years to publish, hopefully next month, my next children's book. That's not enough spare time in my life. So that was eye-opening for me. Thank you, Karen Gordy, for the topic, Bushy Run Winery, because it really made me evaluate. It shouldn't take me 14 years to write a 40-page children's book.
It's a little bit longer than that. It's like 80 pages.
Well, I don't think it's maybe 60-ish. We'll see when it comes out. But anyways, but still, you should need spare time. Spare time lets you refresh and renew. And it was like, what do you do in your spare time? So it was a great way to get to know other people. But then it also had me thinking, I don't have enough spare time. We're not spare timing, putting that in, like calendaring ourselves spare time, because in your spare time is when you get refreshed and renewed.
So you can be more focused at work time.
Correct. So good topic, Karen. And I think we need to really think about that as people in a society. Do we have spare time? And what are we doing with it? Is it productive? Sometimes spare time can just be sitting.
Right.
And
that sort of leads to topic number 2, because she was talking about this and all
ad
that.
nauseum. Because I fixate a little bit sometimes on topics.
And so I was like, well, what do I do in my spare time? I sleep. So I wore my favorite nightgown, Sweet Dreams. But just because I'm laying down doesn't mean I'm sleeping. Because a lot of time that's when I do, what is my vision for the future? Not only for my business, but for my spiritual life, for my personal life. Mm-hmm. Where am I going? What am I doing? You need quiet time. Away from everything and just think.
To be.
Yeah, because like we were watching, what is that?
The Big Bang Theory.
Oh, the Big Bang Theory.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, and one of the little snippets was they were just thinking.
Sheldon and Koothrappali.
Yeah, were just thinking,
but
and
they
were
at work. Yeah, so then we were
that's
doing
their job.
Dun, 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 dun. Yeah. Dun, 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 dun,
but that also
thinking.
Right, got us thinking. Because we've talked in the past about visioning. Well, you can't vision until you've had the dream. Mm-hmm. Because once you have the dream, the excitement, now let's put our to-dos together, which is our visioning. How do I get there? Yeah. So just leave time for sweet dreams.
Yes.
Because everybody needs sweet dreams in their life.
Correct. Those kind of piggyback nicely.
They did. They did.
Mm-hmm. I like it.
And now we're going to go to harsh reality and talk about
happy time over.
No, see, I love this. This is my happy time because we're going to talk about bookkeeping.
True.
Very true. One of the things I want to talk about is the balance sheet. As bookkeepers, we live and breathe on profit and loss. Mm. But
because that's where your daily transactions usually hit.
The balance,
except for, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but
I interrupted.
The balance sheet is our friend and confidant that we hand things off to, because the profit and loss gives you, okay, yearly, here's my net profit. I'm going to hand that now to my balance sheet. It's going to put it in my retained earnings, which is my entire business life in one page. Yep. That's your balance sheet.
Oh, that's a great way to put it.
Okay.
Because it's a snapshot.
Right. Right. So let's talk about specifically today assets. Assets are our good buddies because these are things like your building, your car, your improvements you've made to those assets. They have a life. They can be depreciated. And it's also sort of your wealth builders. Mm-hmm. All right. So with assets, though,
inventory,
bank accounts, petty cash. These are things you want to always keep track of. And I'm going to talk here about reconciling. We should be reconciling our assets monthly, which means your bank accounts should be balanced monthly. Now, however,
inventory.
If you do a lot of transactions, some of my clients, quite honestly, I reconcile through QuickBooks weekly because there's a lot of transactions there.
A lot of movement. So I want to make sure nothing got missed, that someone didn't make an unauthorized purchase without telling their partner.
So who could that
I'm
be?
thinking, who is that? Who is that of which we speak?
So if you balance weekly, then your monthly reconciliation's super easy.
Correct.
Because on that weekly reconciling, we're not saying, okay, we're done reconciled.
Yep.
We're just saying leave in
Right.
our QuickBooks because everything's matchy. It's zero at the bottom. It's all been reconciled. Everything we know that happened in that bank account is in my books.
Correct. And I think we should go back to that one little thing, because if you are in business with multiple people, you should have a procedure for using a debit card that might be over a certain numbered purchase.
Right.
So like you have to, like in our business, if I'm going to spend more than $300, I have to get approval from my other partners.
It's 500, but I tell her it's 300. I'll just share that with
Good to know. Good to know.
She'll forget. It's fine.
I will.
Yeah. So, but the other thing about assets, there's this thing accountants have that I like to call the magic number. What makes something an asset versus an expense?
Right.
And quite honestly, we work with tons of different accountants and they all have different numbers.
Correct.
So you need to find out what your accountant's magic number is to depreciate.
Yep. Yeah. So if I purchase,
that's your homework.
If I purchase a copier for $1,300, but my accountant's magic number is $2,000, then it just goes on the profit and loss. I expense it all. We're done.
Supplies, right.
However, if I purchase a big printer copier thing to run the world, that's $5,000, and I know my number is $2,000, that now goes to the balance sheet because I can't depreciate the whole thing. He's going to tell me he's going to tell me the life of which I can depreciate over 5 years, 7 years. And that's based on IRS stuff, industry standards.
Which we don't do taxes.
Yeah, we do everything up until taxes, and then we hand it off to the lovely accountants who live with the IRS code.
Have fun.
Yeah.
All right. So that's our 3 topics for today. I hope you found them worthwhile.
Delightful.
All right. So again, I'm Christina Rue,
HLC
Bookkeeping and Office Services, 724-561-7460. Our email is office@yourhlc.com.
Correct. Yeah. So if there's any other topics, now we're going to, like I said, one of our topics is reserved, I think, for 6 weeks, where we're talking about the financial statements and little pieces that you're going to find on the financial statement and tips and that sort of thing. But if there's other topics, we have 2 others that we can fill with things that might be of interest to you. Otherwise, it's what people have talked to us about that week, or that I find fascinating, or that occurred to me. Or Krista, because I fixate.
She does.
I fixate. It is life,
and that's okay.
Yeah, we all need them.
That's right. I like to call it. Those are her little sweet dreams.
Yes, they're short lived.
All right,
and then I move on to the next one.
All right.
All right, so that's it. So everybody have a blessed Saturday. Stay warm and have a great week coming up.
Bye-bye.